Before I go any farther, beyond when Jesus was a toddler in Egypt, I'd like to go back a little bit to when he was first born and still in that manger. When he was just a little tiny guy, we know the shepherds brought him gifts. And then when the wise men came, we know that the wise men brought him gifts of gold, frankincense, and myrrh. So if you go back in the Old Testament a ways, when we were talking about the tabernacle and how the tabernacle was set up in the wilderness, and it had the outer courtyard, it had a front room, it was called the Holy, and then the back room was the holiest of holies where the Ark of the Covenant was. Well, in the front room, inside the tent tabernacle, there was a table with 12 loaves of bread. There was golden candlesticks, 7 candles on it. And then there was also, the priest would carry in and set down a censer. And on this censer, he would have the fire always going, always coals going. And they would put gold, frankincense, and myrrh. The censer was gold. I think this is cool. And they put frankincense and myrrh on it. And we were talking about all of these symbols in the tabernacle, how they became Christ. And so there's one real telling thing, because just like in the tabernacle, the wise men brought him gifts of gold, frankincense, and myrrh. And we also find in the tabernacle so many other things that we're going to touch upon, where it was all just, you know the story of Pinocchio? Oh, Figaro, that was the cat's name. I've been trying to think of the story of Geppetto's cat Figaro. It has nothing to do with what I want to say, but I just thought of the cat's name. But Geppetto fashioned this little puppet so tenderly. He carved him out of wood. He was a wood carver and a puppeteer. And he made Pinocchio and he put him on strings. And Geppetto treated him like he was his little boy. He was not a married man, so he just treated Pinocchio like his little boy, this little puppet. And then one day, Pinocchio got in trouble, and I won't go through the whole story, but then one day a fairy godmother came, and twang, Pinocchio became a real live boy. Well, that's how I think of the tabernacle. This tabernacle is like the puppet Pinocchio. It's all the makings, the beginnings, the carvings of Pinocchio, the strings. And then he becomes a real boy. And that's what the tabernacle is. Everything in that tabernacle is a part of the puppet. And God is showing his people what is to come, that's going to be for real. And Jesus became the real live boy. This sounds like an awful illustration, I'm sure. But that's what it was like when they brought Jesus the gifts of gold, frankincense, and myrrh. And Jesus said, I'm the bread of life. That was in the front of the tabernacle. I am the light of the world. That was in the front of the tabernacle. And there's so many more things we're going to touch on where Jesus is the fulfillment of everything in the Old Testament. I'm going to leave off there, but I just had to bring that point up about how the wise men brought him gifts of gold, frankincense, and myrrh. Okay, moving on. Next time. Bye-bye.